Hello everyone, I believe that I am live. If I am properly audible to you people, you can give a thumbs up in the comment section. If I am properly audible, you can tell me in the comment section. So today, this is the last class of this boot camp. Today we will be completing our project. Am I properly audible? If I'm properly audible, you can tell me in the comment section that I am properly audible. Let's wait for a few more minutes so that everyone can join. Then we can start with the class and we'll complete the project today. And I also have an important announcement to make that I'll do at 7:10. Okay, so let's wait for a few more people. If you people have any doubts related to any topic that we covered in previous sessions, you can ask now. Good evening, Neha. Good evening, Praveen. Good evening, Manthan. I believe that every one of you must have given the quiz that we organized in the last class. If you people have any doubts from the questions that we did in that quiz also, you can ask. Good evening, Pranjal. Let's wait for a few minutes so that everybody can join. Then I'll make an important announcement. Then we'll start with the project. Till then, if you have any doubts, you can ask. Otherwise, I'll ask one question from you people. I believe that every one of you must have attended the previous sessions also. You must have seen the recorded version of them, or you have attended the live session. So if you have any doubts, you can ask. Uh, oh, okay, Manthan, no problem. Actually, the quiz was live. That's why you were not able to rejoin again. But no issue. Wait for 7:10. I'll make one more announcement. uh, Manthan, even after the session ended, the recording was on this YouTube channel only. So you could go through that session again and see the questions. And after that, you can also see the answers in the live session only. Good evening, Mukund. So, okay, you people tell me how to add any item in tuple. How can we add any item in tuple? Any guesses how to add any item in tuple? Any guesses? You don't have to be correct. You can make any guess how to add any item in the tuple after we have declared the tuple already. Or is it possible to add anything in the tuple or not? What do you think? Mukund, we don't have to convert the tuple into any other form. Yes, you can do that also. That is correct. But uh, we want to add an item in the tuple which we have already declared, and we don't want to use any conversion function. Okay, Indulkar, tuple function. Yes, Take Singh, you are right. We cannot add anything into the tuple. That is the answer. We can convert it into list, then convert it back into tuple. That we can do, but we cannot use that. Directly add something into the tuple. Indulkar, there is no built-in function also for adding something into tuple because they are defined as ordered sequence which are immutable. If you want something to be present in the tuple, then you'll have to enter that item at the time of its declaration. So yes, guys. Now next question. Do we have a reverse function in list? Inbuilt reverse function in list. Do we have that? Good evening, Vikas. So tell me, do we have a reverse function, inbuilt reverse function in list? Like in the last class, I told you there is no reverse function for string, inbuilt reverse function. You can reverse string, but using indexing or we can say steeping. But do we have any inbuilt reverse function for list? Yes, Mukund. Anyone else? Yes, Manthan. So yes, the answer is yes, we have inbuilt reverse function for the list. For that, you have to just write the variable name that you're using for the list, then dot reverse function. Then it will automatically reverse the list that you have. So now it's 7:10. The important announcement that I wanted to make is that after this session, after completing our project, then again you'll be having one quiz today, but the link for that will be shared with you people in the WhatsApp or Telegram groups that you must have joined. So your attendance will also be marked using that link only. Yuvraj, I already shared the dataset with the team, so they'll share with you guys in the Telegram group. I've shared the all the datasets that I have used with them. So I believe they must be sharing after this class. So the main thing is after this class, you'll again be having one quiz. Yesterday you had 6 questions, but today you'll be having 10 questions. And to get the certificate for this bootcamp, you will have to at least correctly mark six questions, I should say, or 4 to 6 questions. Like 40% marks are important to get certificate of this bootcamp. So I'll end this session as soon as the project gets completed. After that, you can revise. Everything will be present in the PPT only that I have shared with you people. You can go through them once again. So all the best to everyone. If you have any doubts, you can tell me at last. I'll try to answer all of them. So let's get started with the project. So yesterday we covered till here. No, Manthan, the quiz today will be in the form of Google form. No, Mukund, the quiz will be in the form of Google form, and your attendance will also be marked using that form only. That will be shared in the WhatsApp and Telegram groups. And you'll have to mark at least 4 questions, I should say, correct to get the certificate for this bootcamp also. So 40% marks are important, and the total number of questions are 10. No, Praveen, there is no time limit for any question today. The quiz will be in the form of Google form only. So there is no time limit. But yeah, you'll have to fill the form before 9. Like the quiz will be from 8 to 9. 8 o'clock to 9. So the form will close correctly at 9 p.m. today. And after this session, you will be having around 10 to 15 minutes to revise. So you can also do that. So again, starting with the project, we imported all the libraries here, and we read a CSV file using pandas library. Yes, Yuvraj, I've already shared the dataset with the team, and they will be sharing with you people directly in the Telegram group. So I'll make sure that the dataset gets shared with you people today only. Don't worry. So this is how we read the dataset, and we checked how many columns we had, and using index column parameter, we set the date column as index. So next, we also checked what kind of data we had using stocks records dot head. We get first 5 rows, and using dot ilog function, we sliced our data frame to the columns that we need. Like example, we don't require this symbol column here. This is just telling us that this is the data set of Google. So we remove this column using this ilog function. Now next, we need to check if there is any null value present. So we did that using dot is na dot any function. So it tells us that there is no null value in the data frame or data set, I should say. So next thing is this is again to check the info of the data frame. Now next, I divided the data set into 2 parts, that is dependent records and independent records. So it is showing there is no close column. I forgot to run any of the cell till here. Let me run them. So yeah. So now you can see I divided the data set into 2 parts. One is a dependent one and one is independent one. So the next thing is, next I divided again the data set of independent and dependent columns into 4 parts, that is xtrain, xtest, ytrain, ytest, using sklearn.model selection. So next, this is the things that we have in xtest. So someone asked me what was test size, what is test size. So I already told that I have divided the test and training part into 90 and 10 ratio, or 9:1 I should say. So the 10% of the total data is passed on to X test and Y test. So next, we also plotted some graphs initially, that for the opening values, and we learned how to increase the figure size using fixed size parameter. And again, we also learned how to rotate the values that we have at any axis, like x-axis or y-axis, using x-text for x-axis. And then we imported linear regression and made an object of it and trained a model. And this was the slope and intercept. One more important thing, many of you marked the wrong answer in yesterday's quiz, that how to find out the slope. So for finding out the slope, you have to use this coefficient function. There is no slope function. There is no function by the name of slope, I should say. So for finding out the slope, you have to write LNR, or the name, yes, the name of the linear regression model. So that is LNR in this case. So LNR dot coefficient underscore. This is important. So now next thing. Now we have divided the data set. We have trained a model using dot fit. Now we want to get our values predicted, but we'll get our values predicted for the X test, let's say. So because we have trained the data on the X train part, so we'll get our values predicted for the X test. So let us rename it as predicted Y. So we'll pass the values to the model, lnr.predict, then X test values, and then get it printed. So we can see the values that we have. So a model has predicted the values of for the X test. So now we want to check the error, that if there, how much error we are getting, because no machine learning model is perfect no matter what. Good evening, Sona. So we need to import mean absolute error and mean squared error from sklearn.matrices, sklearn library only. So let me import it. So this is how you import this. Let me copy this one and paste it. Now I need squared error. So I need to just change this code. So I've imported both the libraries. Now to get the mean absolute error, I need to pass the predicted values and the testing values also for the comparison. So let me get printed the absolute error. Is equals to, then we have for the function mean underscore absolute error, and we need to pass X test value to compare with predicted Y. So let me run this. So it shows that error is 5.251 and so on. So in the similar way, we need to find out the mean squared error. For that, we have to just change the function and the parameters will be same. And here I need to call that function also. So let me run this one. So these are the two errors that we are getting. Now if we want RMS error, that is root mean squared error, then we need to just find out the square root of this mean squared error. So for that we need a square root function that we will be importing from the math library. From math import square root sqrt. So again for that, so now I need a root mean squared error, so I need to write root. I'll mention root here, and everything will be same, just the thing is I need to find its square root. So let me pass on this value to the square root function, which we will be calling using numpy only. So np.sqrt and the values. Now let's run it. So we have all three errors here. So now the next thing is, now we have trained a model, predicted everything. Now we can also test the model also using the values that we'll be providing to it. So let us enter the values to be predicted. So for that we'll be making one list, empty list, that so that we can enter the values or update the list according to the values the user will be giving. So let us use any variable, let's say v in I dot columns. I dot columns here stands for independent, and it will be taking the values for every column that we have in independent data frame. So for that I need to, let's say I'll print that which value we have to enter. So that is enter the value v. So it will be telling us the column name too, that which value we have to enter. Next thing, we need to convert all the values into float point. As I told you, the input function takes everything in the form of a string. So for that I need to write float here. So the input will be converted into floating number from string, and then we can append the input that we are taking in the list. So this is how it works, but we need to pass an array to the model to get it predicted, the get the predictions. So for that we need to convert the list into array. So for that we can write any random, like user values I should say. So let me write in short only. The user v is equals to np.array. I told you that using numpy only we can convert any list or any dictionary or any tuple into array. So yes, we'll do this. Then we need to reshape the array. So let us reshape it. I also taught this when we were covering the NumPy library. So how to reshape it? Using reshape function, and I'll be passing the parameters as 1 minus 1. So let us get printed the user v. So what we have, and let us enter the values. Let us enter any random values for now. So I can enter the value for hi, let's say 100. Oh, I entered wrong value here. We cannot convert this slash into float, that's why it is giving us errors. So let me enter 100. Now it's correct. Then let's say 200, or like any random values. After that we'll be entering the correct value so that you can compare the results. So this is the array we have now. Now next we need to pass this array to the model to get the answer for the prediction value of closing value. So now closing price, we need to get the answer for the closing price. So here, so for that I'll write lnr dot predict, and then I'll pass this array. So let's see what value it predicts. So it has predicted 268 and so on. Now if you want to compare, so let me open the CSV file here. So then we'll be entering the values according to this only. So let us enter the high value as 722.8, Then next is 717.31. And next is opening value is 719. So this is the array. Now let us see the predicted value. You can see the predicted value is 721, which is near to this value that we have in the data set. So, but we also saw that there is some error. There will be some error. So it is giving the values somewhat near the values that we have in the data set. So a model is working fine, or we can also test it once again. Let us do it for this third row. So the high price for the third row is 716.65. Now next we have a low price as 703.26. You can enter any values. This is just that we are trying to compare the results. That's why I'm entering the values from the CSV file. Now the opening value is 714.91. So now let's get the predicting value for the closing price. We have around 707. So yeah, it is somewhat near to the value that we have in the data set. So that means a model is somehow somewhat giving us the correct answers, like near values only, because none of the machine learning model can be so perfect to give the exact answers. So it is giving us near values. So is it clear till here? Should we move to the next part? Should we move to the next part? Is it clear to everyone? So that we can find the R2 score also, that is accuracy, or we can also plot some more graphs like heat map and scattered graphs for comparing the data set. If you people have any doubts till here, you can ask. If you people have any doubts till here, you can ask. Yes, Sagar, I have already shared the dataset with the team and they'll be sharing with you people. So I'll make sure that they share the dataset with you today only. If you have any doubts still here, which report do you want me to print? If you want the accuracy score, yes, we'll be printing that in few more minutes. Like after we plot some more graphs to see the kind of data set and the predicted value and widest values comparison. Yes, Sagar. If you people have any doubts still here, you can tell. Is everything clear to everyone? Should I move to the next part? Yes, Sagar. You can use this project. But this is for the data that you are using, that is CSV file. It will give results on the basis of this one. If you want it to use the live data, then you'll have to use any API, or for API you can use Rapid API. You must be knowing this website. You can get different APIs from there. So for live data you can use that website also. So let us move to the next part. Now we have already seen the code for how to get the values predicted. So next thing is, let us plot. Let me remove this. Yeah. So let us plot a heat map. So actually, what is a heat map? I'll tell you. As I told you guys that we have matplotlib for plotting the graphs in Python. So we also have this one more library known as Seaborn. So we have Seaborn library also for plotting the graphs and having different backgrounds for each graph. So we can also use this library for heat map. I'll be using a Seaborn library. So plt.figure. So I need to increase the size of my graph. So I'll be mentioning the fig size here, which I want as 15.5. And for the data plot, any variable. So I'll be using this library, Seaborn library, sns dot heat map. Then I want it to tell me the correlation between all the variables that we have in the column. So I'll write stock records dot cor. It stands for correlation, and I want to print the graph, so I'll write plt dot show. So let us run this. You can see the heat map here. So according to the color, you can judge what are the values here. So it is telling us the relation between all the variables. So I don't think so we have much time so that we can deploy the project. For that, I'll also have to teach you people other different frameworks also, that like we have Django, Flask, or nowadays people also use Streamlit app to deploy their models. So you'll have to learn about the frameworks also, which will require at least next 1 week, I should say, to get into the detail part. Otherwise, 2 to 3 classes are more required for that. Dulkar, yes, you can add this project to a resume. You can upload the project into any GitHub, like in your GitHub account, I should say. So you can add the link to the GitHub to for the in your resume. You can add the link to the GitHub in your resume. So next thing, let us see the relation between the tested values and the predicted values. So I'll write plt.figure again to mention the fig size. So I'll write something like, let's say 6 is good, equals to 6 comma 6. Next is we have plt.scatter. Let me label it, let me pass the values of test 1 and predicted 1 to see the comparison. Let us see what kind of values we have. So let us use crimson color, let's say. So now let us label x axis and y axis. So for x label, we'll be writing true values. And then I need to pass the font size also. It's your wish if you want to pass it or not, as I'm increasing the figure size. So I'm also mentioning the font size also. So similar thing you need to pass for x-axis also to get the labels. These are the predicted values. You can change the color of graphs, as I told you that you have a different function to get the type of backgrounds, different type of backgrounds and colors. So you can also use that to change your graphs and make them more, I should say, appealing to eyes. So you can make them more colorful. So this is the graph we have. So you can see it is giving us somewhat a linear curve. It's a linear curve. So this is what linear regression is. Like we are getting a predicted and true values almost similar. So again, we were using linear regression only to get the values. So that is also the reason. So next thing, so let us also get the values plotted against the date. Actually, the predicted values plotted against the date. So let us again mention the figure size. Some things are totally similar in case of plotting the graphs, different graphs. So let us write 30:6 will be good for this one. So next, plt dot plot. So let me write x test, comma, color, let's say red, or let me don't mention any color for now. So next is I also need to plot predicted ones also. So plt dot plot, then I'll pass on the predicted values also, which is predicted y, then plt dot label. Actually, I need to pass the y label, so I'll write y here. So as label, I'll pass y values. So again, let me mention the degrees as we will be plotting it against the dates. So we need that also. So degrees is equals to 70, let's say. The next thing is plt.xtext, as dates will be given on the x-axis. So I need to rotate it. So rotation is equal to degrees. Then plt.show. So it's running. So this is the graph we have. So all the y values of predicted and tested are plot against the date. You can compare with the data set. Now the next thing, we can also use min-max scaler sometimes. Like in this case, we all pass the data directly. But if we want our data to be converted into the range of 0 to 1, we can also use min-max scaler. Both the things are correct. It is just up to us, and both the things will give us the same answer. For example, like let me show you. I'll convert the data in using a min-max scaler. The data will be converted into 0 to 1 values. The lowest will be the 0 and the maximum will be 1. So that's how this works. So let me write. It is also another pre-processing library you have, pre-processing function you have in sklearn. So I need to import min-max scaler. So yeah, so I'll let me make an object of it as min-max scaler. The next thing, I need to transform my data. So let me rename it as let's say x train I'm transforming. So I'll write x train norm. I should say, like I'm not doing normalization here. So next is mms dot fit underscore transform. So we have three functions here. One is fit, one is transform, and one is fit transform. In fit transform, you can fit, that is convert the data, and as well as change the data in the variable, in the original variable also, using fit transform function. Here I'll be passing the x train So this function do both the things, that is fitting of the model, that is training of the model, and then transforming. So I'll also do change the testing part, let's say. So because we need to change both the data if we for training and testing also. So I'm just using transform function here. Both the things are correct. You can use any one of them. So it will only transform the data. So let me get both the things printed so that you can compare. Let us get printed x train. Then we can get printed x train underscore norm. So let us get this printed. So you can see initially we had this as data, but afterwards it is converted like this, like all the values are between 0 to 1. So, but this also will give us the same answer that we had earlier, same model, no matter. This is just for knowing that how to do data pre-processing, like converting the values between 0 to 1. Like sometimes some kind of data we have that we want to reduce the values, so then we use min-max scaler. So next thing, so now we need to find the accuracy of the model. So using sklearn library only, someone was asking for reports, so yeah, so we'll be calculating the R2 score in this case. R2 underscore score. So I'll write R2 underscore score. Then I'll pass both the values of y test and predicted so that it can give me the accuracy of the model that we have built. So let us see what is the accuracy of a model. So yeah, the accuracy of a model is somewhat 99% only, near to 100. So as you saw that the values we were getting from the prediction model was near to the values that we had in the data set. Yes, Yuvraj, you can use other methods of plotting too. No issue in that. You have so many different functions. Like I told you, the basic ones that you can use bar plot, you can use scatter, you can use normal line plots, you can use heat maps, you have histogram, you have bar plots, you have pie charts also. You have so many different functions. It's up to you what you want to use for making your project more interactive. Yes, Yuvraj, I know it will show all the attributes. So again, we can also pass the test norm also for linear regression, again making its we don't have much time, Vivaj. Actually, I had to give you people some time for preparing or revising for the quiz. So let us complete this project as fast as possible. So again, I'm using I'm again training the made model, but on the basis of the different data set that I have transformed, that I did in X train. I transformed the X train values from 0 to 1. So I have Y train also here. So I'll get my values predicted too. So let us get it predicted lnr dot predict for x test underscore no. So let me get the values predicted printed too underscore y. So let me run it. So we have now trained a model and got the values predicted. Now again you can get your score for this model also. Let me copy this. Vaishnavi, the quiz will be from 8 to 9. The Google form will be shared with you people on the WhatsApp and Telegram groups only. And attendance will also be marked using that form. So let us print the R2 score once again. You can see in this case also the values are same. So you can use min-max scaler when you want to transform your data. Sometimes we have very high values, so we want it to be converted into 0 to 1 range. So we can use min-max scaler also in that case. And I already told you how to take input from the user and get the values predicted. So after converting it into an array, you can also make a function of it while deploying your project if you want. It's just up to you. You can also add this notebook also in your resume. You can just make add few more things that I taught you in the class, and you can change the colors of different graphs that we have plotted in this case. So this was how you can predict and plot the predicted values for stock prediction. Is it clear to everyone? I also told you one extra function, min-max scaler, that you can use for your future projects if you want. Is it clear to everyone? If you people have any doubts, you can ask. That was all from my side for today. So this was the last class. I hope you learned. Okay, Sandeep. If you people have any doubts till here, you can ask. R2 score stands for regression score here. The best possible score that you can have is 1.0 in floating number. So we have 0.99 and so on here. So I hope everything is clear. The data set will be shared with you people today only. Don't worry. I'll share the data set. I'll talk to the team for this. So the quiz will start at 8 o'clock, and the link will be shared with you people in the respective groups only, WhatsApp and Telegram. So all the best everyone. I hope you learned something from this bootcamp. Thank you everyone. This was all from my side. Thank you, Mukund. Thank you, Riddhi.